My name is Brittany Cobb and I'm the founder of Flea Style. In 2015, I decided to really explore how to grow the company, and soon thereafter changed the name to Flea Style and have been operating Flea Style for about 2 years now. So I like to say that the company officially launched in 2009, but Flea Style's been around about 2 years since 2016. I got involved with Flea Style originally as the Dallas Flea when I was a journalist. I was writing about people doing really interesting things, from baking to creating jewelry, and I just really fell in love with their stories and what they were doing and wanted to do something beyond the story when I was done with them. So they became friends and we collaborated on various things, and I came up with the idea eventually to create a little flea market like the ones I shopped as a child in California and as a young adult in New York when I was a journalist there. And the idea just kind of sparked. 1,000 people showed up that cold, I guess it was December day, and it just kind of was a little proof of concept that I had something. And slowly but surely I kept it going for about 5 years as I grew my family. I got married, I had another full-time job, and eventually I just really wanted to pour more energy into this thing that made me so happy and did such good for the small business community that I've always grown up loving. My dad's always owned his own company, my mom's always owned her own, and so that way of life and that entrepreneurial spirit is something that I really relate to and love to foster, and it's really grown since. What drives me? I mean, there are so many things. Personally, my family, my children, creating something hopefully one day they can be involved in and help with. That's something I really look forward to, find exciting. And then the vendors themselves, watching their companies grow or watching them come back to the shows year after year and seeing them expand their business or get accounts at various stores, do other markets in other cities. That's always really exciting and fulfilling as well. And then just also creating jobs. I really believe Flea Style is creating jobs as a promoter and helping these companies find other avenues to make their wares or sell their wares, but then also within our company hiring really talented, young, cool women that I can hopefully help them find a job that they love and love to go to, and it's all just so fulfilling. So really everything about it is just exciting, and I truly wake up thrilled to go to work every day. Oh, that's a good question. The Dallas Flea, when that started, it was obviously a very generic name that made a lot of sense for what I did. And I had also just moved from New York, where I watched the Brooklyn Flea kind of take off. And so it was inspired by being really literal and easy for people to understand what we were. So with Flea being involved in the name from day one, I really wanted to honor that, but kind of switch it up to have a more national name, something that would have some legs to really grow. And I threw around a couple. My top two, most people don't know this, were either Flea Spirit or Flea Style. And I decided Flea Style was the best fit for us, and I think it's the perfect name. It represents our roots and where we started and really where we want to go. And that's just being, flea inspired, meaning things that are collected, handmade, sold with love, and then style can really range in so many avenues. And it's been really fun to be able to branch out and do so many things now. So the timeline of the Dallas Flea and Flea Style starts in 2009. I was a journalist and I had a lot of friends in the public relations world. And one of my friends, Mallory, she worked for a company called Southside. And this is an area of Dallas that is really cool. It's kind of rough around the edges. It's in Old South Dallas. And her boss owned a really big manufacturing business that was actually, it used to be owned by Sears. And they had turned it into these cool lofts and artist studios. And she was representing it, and I brought the idea to her saying, hey, I have this idea for this little market, and do you think I could find a home here? And they were so instrumental in finding me space within the building and generously giving it to me for free to try to see if this thing would work. And so I owe so much to them, but that's where we started, and we stayed there for a really long time. I think that's an important message with the Flea Style story is it's not an overnight success. We were at that location for 5 years. It was never something I thought I could do full-time monetarily. I didn't think that the need was there. And so, it just took time to grow it slowly and well and build the contacts. And I also had my real life going on. I got married and had kids. And so from about 2009 to 2015, I used it was a side project, and used it to just get out, that creative side of me that I really love to tap into here and there. And then it got to the point where we needed a new home. We had outgrown the space, and I just needed to pull the trigger and really go for it. And so at that point, I found a new location. I finally had to, pay some money for a space and really hire some part-time help to help me. But in putting in that energy and taking that big risk, I had such a huge reward. We went from about 1,000 people at a show to 5,000 people literally overnight. So the next venue was in an area of Dallas called West Dallas. It's Trinity Groves is the little neighborhood name, and we took over this old beat up grain shed, and I mean it was a piece of work. Literally, there were bullet holes in the ceiling, there were very little lights, rodents inside. I mean, it was a little rough, but it had charm and grit, and Dallas can be so glossy and shiny and fancy, and I really liked the edginess of this venue. And so anyway, I took a leap of faith and did it, and people showed up. And that first show, I mean, the weather was just the worst. Literally a week of ice and sleet and snow, and I thought we were gonna have to cancel so many times. 2 days before the show, I literally got a call from the city saying they were shutting down the bridge, which was one of the main access points to the venue for a yoga retreat if the weather performed. And I mean, everything stacked against me, but people showed up. They showed up in droves. They were so happy to get out of their homes after a week of snow, and it was just so fulfilling and exciting. And I didn't even realize the success we were having until about halfway through the event. I had my own booth. I was still pedaling like I had been for 5 years, thinking it was just a little bigger event and a little bigger venue, and the line was around the block. People were waiting for hours. My dad was valet parking cars for people, taking their cell phone numbers. Hey, your car's in this slot, where are you hanging your keys? My mom went and bought cookies and was handing them to people in line who were so gracious and just happy to stand outside and support our little event. And it was just what I needed to take it to the next level. I was in a job where I couldn't just quit right away, so I made the decision then that was going to be my path, and I had about a year-long exit strategy. So for the next year, I kept doing my job. At that point, I had left journalism to be an interior designer. Long story for another day, but finished up those jobs, and by the end of the year, I officially changed the name to Flea Style. I got the trademark issued, or I got it working. I found Alyssa, or she found me. That's another long story and a great one, but it just kind of was all falling into place. And sure enough, here we are. So we changed the name, we changed the venue once again, we outgrew Trinity Groves. We moved to a venue with 10,000 parking spots, and the rest is kind of history. So we've really put in the work. We've been doing this a really long time. We stay fiercely authentic to our tagline, handmade, vintage, one of a kind, and it has led us to this place, almost 8 years later. It's changed a lot, and I think that's important for people to know. I say that a lot. You need to be flexible in your ideas, I think, for true success and growth. And we're not perfect, we're not experts, but I think that having the idea for a flea market is still such a huge part of our soul, and definitely the backbone of what we do and who we are. But that said, we've really expanded to do other things. For us personally, it was a necessary thing, as I needed more people to help me out. I couldn't just keep throwing shows on the calendar. The more shows, in Dallas and then Houston would just oversaturate the market, and the vendors wouldn't do well. And so we were trying to come up with things to protect them and ourselves. So Summit was a natural extension of the brand. It was something I had in the back of my head for a while, and took a leap of faith and tried it, and it's been a really great thing for us. So, it's our way to continue to hopefully foster and help small business makers and business owners, those that are in our Flea Style family as a vendor, or that want to be, or someone that lives on a totally other area of the country, but wants to connect with these types of people or learn about how they can grow their idea. So it is definitely it has a really nice home in the Flea Style brand, and something we're very proud of, and one of the things that gives us the most joy. And then outside of that, we needed more going on as we were hiring more people and needed to find ways to pay for the company and grow it. And so the online shop was another natural extension. An idea of having our kind of marketplace all the time for people that can't make the show or that maybe don't make sense as a vendor but would make sense online. And then, through that we found that we can collaborate with the makers and actually pay them up front for their products and work with them on something special just for us. So, and that idea came once we already had the online shop. It was never how we thought it would start. And so I think having an open mind but a fierce tagline or a fierce mission or foundation is so important. So you never steer too far from center of what you're all about, but can continue to grow and be nimble and find ways to grow the company. I have big dreams. I'm a dreamer. I see us doing so much. I would love to make the shows bigger and better. I'd love to really have a big presence online and be able to open it up to more makers. So essentially do everything we're doing but better and really well. But that said, I see us doing so many things in addition. We're really focusing on retail right now and where we might land with a permanent space. And that's very exciting to continue to get that face-to-face with the shopper and the vendor, and also just be able to move our things more often in front of people with a brick and mortar. And then I see the brand going more national. I would love to see us have markets in other cities. I'd love to see Summit jump around and hit people in other pockets of the country. And then from there, I just keep an open mind. I never imagined we would be where we are right now, so I'm really I think realistic with the idea that we could be anywhere. As long as we continue to just work really, really hard. I'd love to see my team grow. I'd love to grow the girls within the company right now in positions that they really love and want to see themselves in 5 years. So I just hope that we're bigger and better and promoting and supporting more artists and makers and collectors, because that's what we're all about. One of the hardest things about running Flea Style is, it's kind of its own thing. It's not really in a specific genre or market or industry, and so figuring out how we grow it and how we do it and how we keep people happy as we grow. We're so big on vendors and the makers and those that have helped us get where we are today and are who we are. And so how we continue to have successes with them, but also be able to continue to grow it. That's always a challenge for me and something I think about in every move I make. Some funny Flea Style stories. Okay, gosh, there are so many. I love thinking back to the old days. So I took the team on a stroll down memory lane and showed them the venue, and it brings back so many memories. And when we started the show, we actually set up the morning up. So we would, show up by 5:30, 6 a.m. Vendors would show up with their things, unload all their items, take their car to the parking lot, set up their booth, maybe grab a quick donut or coffee we provided, and then people would hopefully show up. And so just that whole process to think about what we did in about 18-hour time frame versus now setting up multiple days before, it's just such a luxury and it makes me laugh when I think about it. That first venue, it was a public space, and so we couldn't set anything up the night before, and we would tape off the booths and put up the vendor names and just pray that no one would come and raise the thing or tear stuff off or play a prank on us. Literally I lost so many hours of sleep on those nights. To think back on that's just crazy. When we moved to Trinity Groves, the building was really cool, but it was really rough. It's West Dallas. It is the wild, wild west, and still kind of is. And so they would hand me this lock and key and kind of be like, go for it, girl. No contract, no nothing. And like I said before, these buildings had bullet holes in them from the old days and just kind of crazy. And if it rained, I would have to go with my mop and my broom. And one time I had to go on the roof. There was this area where water was coming through and we couldn't figure it out, and I threw a tarp on there. That time I mentioned it was really sleety and snowy, and my dad was propping me up, and we were just everything, jack of all trades, from janitor to operator. You know, we in the early days didn't have security, and so we were always really cautious, as we always are, but especially so with the entry. It's a cash entry, and so we would rent a little apartment in the building and bring a little bit in our pocket here and there and stuff it in all the corners of the kitchen that we were renting this apartment. I mean, to think of that, I nursed my daughter in that room one time when I had a show a few weeks after giving birth. One show I was so pregnant, I couldn't lean over and tape off boots, so I would like kind of lean down the best I could, and like we created this contraption so I could use chalk out the stick we taped. I mean, we have really put in the time and the work, and looking back, it's just crazy when it was just me and some family I had help me out. I think one thing that a lot of people might not know is that so many of these vendors have been with Flea Style and the Dallas Flea and me since 2009. I mean, I could probably guess about 5 to 10% have been in every single show since 2009. And then several, you know, something may come up here and there, but they've been with us for the majority of the shows from day one. And I think that's such a testament of who we are and the family we've created within Flea Style, but also just their successes and the marketing opportunity for them. It's just really fun. And all that said, they really are family. I mean, I have play dates with some of them. I mean, they have been to birthday parties of mine. I mean, we share so much, and that's really cool, and something we really try to keep that small spirit really alive and thriving as we grow, because that is what it's all about. We try to really be authentic and put our little stamp on anything we can, and keep that very communal feeling. It's super important to us. 2017 has been a really big year in the company. We brought on Grace, which was just an incredible move for us, and we just are obsessed with her, and she's helped us really grow the company and the brand and the visual side. Alyssa's really developed her role in the more creative side of things she's wanted to do for a while, and as you know, the content and the videos, I mean, she's just rocking it. And I'm really excited about the team growth we've had, and you know, as an office, it's just really exciting to see what we're putting out there. We're really proud. We're also just really, really excited about putting our new show together. We took a new venue this fall. We left our Dallas venue for many reasons, so many that are just too long to even talk about, but it was a really challenging place for us to operate in. And so we looked high and low for the right home, a place hopefully we can call home for a while, and we are so excited about Market Hall. We love the location in Dallas, we love the size, we love the operators, we love the free parking, and we are just giddy about this new place and cannot wait for the show. I think it's going to be a home run for everyone, and it just feels like our forever place.